on Facebook Messenger, and she's been communicating with this person for like 2.5 years. Never asked any money, nothing like that. Never seen the person in person. Never like FaceTime, call them, none of that. But communicating. Yes, yeah, they communicated with them for 2.5 years. And then about after 2.5 years, that's when they started. Oh, hey, I'm like $500 short on my rent. You mind helping me out, darling? You know, blah blah blah, you know, whatever. And then they'll start asking for that money. You know, and then once they've got them on the hook, that's when they'll start it. You've got the gift card scams that we've mentioned sometimes, snitching, pig butchery, crypto scams, remote access software. That's kind of a one. You don't see it very often, but it happens. We'll get into that in just a little more. But what that means is like they'll have you click a link, and that link will allow them to basically take over your computer. They can control the mouse. I mean, you'll be able to see it on your computer and stuff, but they'll be controlling your mouse, going to your banking website, going to wherever, you know. They can remote in and have that access to your computer.
And that's very typical with the scams when you Google like tech support, that kind of thing. That's very common where they're going to send you some link. It's like, hey, this allows me to control your computer and help you fix your computer, which really all they're doing is just stealing your information as soon as you click on that link. They can take control, steal whatever information you have on that computer.
Can you clarify what smishing and
We're going to get in. We've got some slides on that. We're going to get into that. Yes. Money mules. That's a very common one, and kind of what that entails is they'll get victim A on the line. They'll get victim A hooked for whatever amount of money or whatever their scam is, you know. But then at the same time they're talking to victim A, they'll be also talking to victim B, C, and D. And then what they'll do is they'll have victim B, C, and D send money, whether it be wire transfers, gift card numbers, whatever it may be, to victim A. And then victim A will then send that information to the said scammer. So at that point, victim A, that's what we call the money mule. Everything's being funneled through them and then funneled to the scammers. Like I said, the victim A, they believe is a legit person. And then FedEx and UPS, sometimes these companies will be used unbeknownst to them. You know, they'll have, sometimes scammers will tell you, I got a case that I'm working right now actually, where a lady, she had to send $4,300, I think it was, and they needed her to send it overnight, and so she went and cashed a check, $4,300, got the cash from her bank, put it in an envelope, I think it was FedEx maybe, and then sent it overnight to the scammer's address. So, and it's unbeknownst to the FedEx and them, you know, because they're thinking, hey, it's just a package, you know, normal business practices, you know. So sometimes businesses, legit businesses doing legit business, get wrapped up in these, you know, unbeknownst to them. So you. I'll stand just right here. So this slide is kind of a reference to our romance scams. As you can see here, they'll take legit photos of people online and use them as their own. Right? So basically, like I said, these are some of the people you may get a message, you know, a Facebook message from somebody, you know, whether it be an attractive female or handsome male or whatever. Or sometimes they'll even use celebrities. I mean, I'm sure everybody knows these two celebrities down here, right? Okay. And so they'll use these photos and pretend to be them and say, you know, they may be using a picture of George Clooney here, but they may say their name is, you know, Mike Smith, you know. And they'll just go with it. Or sometimes they'll say, hey, I'm George, you know, this is my fan account. Sometimes you'll see that with celebrities. Little scammers will pose at them and saying, hey, this is my fan account where I interact with all my fans and all that. And just kind of to make it seem legit. So like I said, this is who you think you're talking to. But this is actually who you're talking to. So these guys, they sit around in these office buildings, and this is what they do. This is their 9-to-5 job, or however long they want to spend on it for the day, you know, is working and get.
a job like that?
That's an answer or a question I don't have the answer to just yet. But I mean, like I said,
somewhere.
these are the people that you're talking to. These are the people that you're communicating with, you know, and. Like I said, this is just a list of some of the people that, you know, places, China, India, Russia, Pakistan, Nigeria, It's just, this is what they do, this is their 9 to 5 job. I tell victims all the time, when I take these reports, I'm getting the information, victims always tell me, I feel so dumb, I can't believe I fell for this, you know, they're beating themselves up. And that's a common reaction, and it's understandable. What I tell everybody is, hey, these are professionals. Just like, I mean, we're professionals in our job, these are professional scammers. I mean, this is what they do. They go through years of training to do this. I mean, like we go to universities and colleges for educational that. They go to basically their version of universities and colleges on how to scam a person one-on-one. You know, and they'll do this for years. This is what they do. And it's like, so I tell them, I understand feeling bad, can't believe you fell for it, but at the same time, they do this on a daily. I'll say, I'm sure when they hung up with you, they took maybe a 5-second break, get a drink or something, and then they're right back at it, getting the next person. You know, it's just what they do. So I tell everybody, don't feel bad.
What
Okay?
is scam slavery?
Scam slavery? What that is what they'll take some people, and they'll post like a job application saying, hey, we got this tech support, we need such people come in, you know, and then so they'll have 10, 15 people, applicants come in for an interview that day. And then what they do is like, hey, they'll basically take them hostage and tell them, hey, we know this about you, we know this about you, show them pictures of their family, and they'll tell them, hey, we need you to make us $100,000 or we're gonna kill your family, or we're gonna do this. Basically what they'll do is they'll take these people hostage and that make them be the scammers and stuff, or they're gonna do X, Y, Z to their family, usually is a common tactic.
To force them to do this to other people.
Yeah. So pretexting. What this is this is when, I kind of mentioned it earlier, where Betty Sue gets a Facebook message from Mike Smith. Mike Smith and Betty Sue will talk for a little bit, and then Mike Smith will be like, hey, I've got this buddy that he knows how to get some federal grants, get you some money to help you out. Let me pass your information on to my buddy, Jim Bob. And then so what Mike Smith will do is he'll pass on the, Betty Sue's information, and then Jim Bob will call them. Unbeknownst to us, they're all communicating with each other. So that's kind of what a short version of what pretexting is. Like I said, romance scams. These are common. It's common. I mean, everybody gets targeted for this. It don't matter if you're 18 all the way up to 99. Everybody's going to get targeted for this because, let's be honest, everybody likes company. Everybody likes having somebody to talk to, whether it be romantic, whether it be just someone to confide in. So everybody likes to have somebody. And these scammers, they take advantage of that, what they'll do is they'll reach out to you, and like I said, they may hook, throw the fish hook out there, and they may work you for months on end before they start asking for money. And then slowly in time, they'll start asking for a little bit. It may just be, hey, I need $20 for gas. Hey, I need $50 for gas. Or, hey, I need $400 to help pay my rent. Or, I'm about to get kicked out of my house. I need $15,000. Whatever it may be, they'll work it. And sometimes when they do this stuff, as you can see in this slide right here, they'll start asking you questions. And they're just, what you would think is a common question if you're getting to know somebody and asking stuff about it,
I don't know if everyone can see it all the way to the back, so I'm gonna read it for you because I want you to see what it says on here. Okay? So here it says, "Yes, my king. First, I must know many things about you. What is the name of your first pet? What is your mother's maiden name?" Doesn't that sound like security questions you would be asked at the bank or that kind of thing? That's exactly what it is. They're trying to get information. So they're using that relationship or that communication with you to gather information so they can then hack into other things like your bank accounts, that kind of thing.
First thing I noticed up there, before anything else, that English is not their first language.
Yep.
That is extremely common.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's very
pay
common.
attention to their grammar because it's usually not very good.
You can see, if you can, and this one over here, this text message stuff on this side, basically what it is a scammer's asking for $5,000. And in the course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 text messages, they say, baby, my queen, honey,
Calling you all sorts of sweet names.
all these sweet names, you know, because I mean, that may be what they called you for the last 6 months when they talked to you, you know? And like I said, it usually starts out slow, when they're asking for just a little bit, but then they'll ramp it up, you know, just see how much they can get from you. You know, and it can go on and go on and go on. I mean, I hate to say it, I've worked a case, where on a romance scam case where, a lady, she was in her 80s and she fell victim and was out, I want to say it was just shy of $200,000 that she sent. So they know what they're doing. Like I said, I'll say it over and over again. They know what they're doing. You know, to what they have to say and all this to get your money, and they'll do what they can.
They are professionals, so we need to make you professionals at finding them. Was it specifically on this? You have a question?
I was gonna tell of one that I did all the time was, they'll be talking to me like USPS, and they're like, from the country saying that they're protected workers, health, whatever, but it's a 463 or 93,
Yep.
which is Afghanistan.
So sharing that with everybody. In fact, he got one of those text messages on the way here.
Yeah.
So she's
For
talking about.
those that didn't hear her, what she was saying is getting text messages from UPS, Amazon, and all that from other numbers. And the number itself, instead of being like a local number 479 or even 501 for Little Rock or 417 up in Missouri, you'll get these text messages from like +63 blah 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 blah. Like you said, Lars, literally from the time we left the police department and drove here, I got a text message and the number is +63 907 blah 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 blah, and it literally says, UPS ground, reschedule your shipping. You attempt to deliver your UPS package on this date, you're going to reach it, blah 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 blah, and then there's a link in here.
If your first reaction is, I didn't order anything from UPS, there's your clue. The second part is seeing that phone number.
The United States is always +1.
Yes, if it's a US number, it'll be +1.
If it's +2.
Even then, I'd be very careful. If you see a +1 phone number, if you didn't order anything and you are not expecting anything from UPS, don't click the link. Even if you did, then go wherever it is that you actually ordered that item from, go check with them, and I guarantee you'll be able to find the answer there.
I always figure it, I can just reorder it.
I think,
Big deal.
one of the biggest takeaways, if you guys can, for this whole presentation, is this slide right here. The most important one in my opinion. Like I said, no legitimate business or law enforcement agency is going to ask for payment in gift cards. I don't care if it's Amazon, Walmart, Rogers Police Department, Benton County Sheriff's Office, FBI, whatever it is. No legit business or law enforcement agency is going to ask for gift cards.
Of any kind.
Any kind. It don't matter if it's Apple gift cards, if it's just Visa gift cards, whatever. Right? No legit business is gonna leave it. And that's why I've got this. I helped make this PowerPoint. That's why I made it bold and bright and all that, so it stands out. Because like I said, that's the biggest thing. If anything you can take away from this presentation, is that right there.
They're extremely common, these gift card scams, because it'll be something like, hey, I sent you too much money on that check, whatever kind of situation it may be. Can you please keep the money that you were supposed to, but the rest of it, return it to me in gift cards? All they're doing is money laundering. That's what they're doing. They're getting you to be their mule of sorts and turn their dirty money into clean money now in these gift cards that they'll go and sell to people. So that's extremely common. No legit business. Nobody accepts gift cards of any kind.
So this is the smishing, like it was brought up.
Smishing.
It's just text messages, the trick individuals and revealing sensitive information, performing actions that compromise their security. This one, for those that can see it right here, this is the common one that was going around not too long ago. I'm sure somebody in this room probably received this.
It says Arkansas Vehicle Administration, so the DMV, is this first text message on the left, right? It's saying, final notice, enforcement penalties begin on June 8th. Our records show that as of today, you still have an outstanding traffic ticket.
So, and this screenshot here, this is actually a text message that I received. I put my own scam messages that I've been, even as a detective, you know, we get these.
We get them too.
You know, and so that's some text messages that I received, and I put it in here because I wanted to show. Because I mean, this was a big thing. Just, I mean, it's still going around. But I mean, just like a month or two ago, there was a lot going on this. We even posted on our Facebook page. You know, just hey, maybe look out for this scam text that's going around. And then other ones, like I said, these are like the U.S. Customs, USPS, Amazon. You'll get these text messages, and what they'll do is they'll have you click this link, and usually what this link will take, it'll forward you to a page where it's asking for your name, your address, your phone number, your last four, your social, whatever information they want to try.
They'll say they're verifying your information.
Mhm.
They're not verifying your information, they're getting you to give them your information.
So pig butchering, it's a very interesting
It's
name.
not actual thing.
It's not actual pig butchering. What this is, I mean, you can copy and read up there. What this is, it's very common in cryptocurrency. It's kind of, the short version of it is, it's where they start asking for a little bit of money at a time. $50 here, $100 here. What they're doing is basically fattening up that pig. And then they'll ask you for that big amount. I need 15,000. Once you get it to that, then what they do, what they're calling, you know, is the slaughtering, the butchering, and then they cut ties with you.
Right. They'll ask you, like you're saying, a little bit at a time, and since they found out, oh, I can get a little bit of this at a time, now I'm gonna ask for something big. And if you give them that big amount, all right, we're done.
Then
We're gonna cut ties, no more contact with that person.
Yep.
It brought up something to me. Is everyone familiar with what we talk, when we say cryptocurrency? Do we know what we're talking about? Okay, so, is that what's next?
It's coming up. Hold that thought, because that's coming up.
All right.
Some tools of the trade here. Like I said, these are some of the text messaging communication models that do. Like, it's very common. These people, social media, you know, they'll reach out to you on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and they'll start talking to you for a little bit, and then they'll say, hey, let's take this, you know, why don't you text me or whatever, and then they'll give you a number, and what it is, it's either text now, WhatsApp, Telegram, you know, Facebook Messenger, Pinger. These are all, what these are is companies that they can basically pay to get a number from, and it looks like a legit number, you know, so you'd be texting it, and what they do is they pay for this number. On some of these platforms, you can actually go on there and you can get this number for, I think, like a 7-day trial for free. And that way you have this legit number that if someone calls, it's going to come through this messaging app on your phone, and you can answer it just like another number. And it's super easy to set up. All you have to have is an email, and it's,
Which anybody can set up a
Yeah.
fake email.
yeah, setting up a fake, especially at Gmail. I can literally go on, and you can find YouTube videos on this of scammers, how quickly it is to set up and do this. I mean, from the time, there's videos out there, but I know one video I think off the top of my head, where he starts a timer, he starts working his computer, he goes to Gmail, creates a fake Facebook, creates a fake Gmail account, uses that Gmail account, goes on, might have been text now, and gets a fake number. And then he goes to that fake Facebook, starts messaging with someone, hey, let's transition over here to the, you know, why don't you just text me instead of messaging over here? And within, I think the time was like 5 minutes.
The whole point of them telling you to go from Facebook Messenger or whatever it is that you're communicating at first to one of these is to conceal their identity. Is to make it harder for us to catch them. Because those phone numbers are only theirs for that short amount of time. And by the time that we get to it, it might be someone completely different. Or the number doesn't exist anymore, or whatever it may be.
And what some of these companies are doing, especially Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, they're doing what's called end-to-end encryption, sorry. And basically what it is that's just, it encrypts those messages, where if you're not the individual on those, it makes it harder for you to read those messages. Makes, for us in law
Makes our job
enforcement,
difficult.
it makes it that much more difficult. And they know these platforms, either one, don't work with law enforcement very well, or have this end-to-end encryption that makes our jobs that much harder. You know,
Just like we like to do a good job, they want to do a good job too and not get caught. So they're gonna try everything they can to not get caught.
We kind of mentioned it earlier, the remote access software. These are just some common companies that these people will use. They'll send you, if you see any of these pop up or any of these names, while we're doing this presentation, be happy, you're very welcome to take pictures and all this, okay? Basically, what they'll do is they'll have you, sometimes, like Executive Alder mentioned with the text scams, is they'll have you download a link from an email, and while that link may say Google Tech Support or whatever, what it actually is, it has you downloaded one of these. And then once they download one of these, then they have access to your computer. And then while you're sitting there staring at your computer, your mouse will start moving, all these windows will start opening, they can go to your banking information, log in, transfer themselves money, and you've got no control.
And some of these are operating in the background.
Mhm.
You won't even see your mouse moving. You won't know that anybody is in your computer moving things around and getting your information. So if you see any of those on either as an application on your phone, or it's something that was downloaded onto your computer because of just a click of a link, that's all it takes. So if you see those on there, that's a good sign, hey, somebody is hacking into your stuff.
And if you think that you by chance fallen victim to a scam, or even if you, you know you have, what you can do is you can take your computers, your devices, all that stuff, Best Buy with Geek Squad, and they can scrub it, and they can find this stuff. And then that helps, obviously, if you do fall victim to a scam, most important thing is obviously contact law enforcement, file that report, okay? Because some banks, they won't refund your money at all without a report from us, if they do. Unfortunately, sometimes banks, they can be difficult, that, you fell victim to a scam, that's on you, you should have known about it, and they won't help. And I hate that, but that does happen. It's kind of, they're a business, they gotta collect their money and all that, so it happens. But number one thing is file that report, Let's see, what's next? Spoofing. This is common, it kind of goes back a lot with the scams regarding law enforcement. What they can do is, spoofing is where they can mimic our phone number. They can, and I'll be honest with you, it's very extremely hard to track, spoofing is. But what they, like example, they have the ability to spoof like police departments numbers, like the Rogers Police Department, Benton County Sheriff's Office. So when you receive that call, it may pop up on your cell phone, Rogers Police Department, Benton County Sheriff's Office, but it's actually scammer over in Michigan or overseas, wherever, those cases are very hard to track.
And so we already talked about it a little bit, when I was talking about the AI voice thing and everything. Along with that, typically what they'll do is, when we say spoofing, we mean that on your phone, it will show up as your grandson's phone number, like he's actually the one calling you. But again, that's where those safety questions that we were talking about come into play. If you have a feeling that it's not them, ask them for that passcode. It'll show up on your phone like it's your grandson. It may not be. So just be careful.
Cryptocurrencies. So we're talking about, this has definitely become very popular in the last probably 5 to 10 years, give or take. I'll be 100% honest with you. Cryptocurrency is not my specialty. We've got another detective officer that works with us. That's kind of his realm of expertise. We wanted him to come today so he could kind of explain this a little better to you, but he was unfortunately busy. So bear with me, I'll give you my best explanation of it. Cryptocurrency, the best way to think about it is digital money. There's no legit, there's a common term, cryptocurrency, you might have heard of Bitcoin. When you think of that, what you need to know is there's no physical coin. There's no physical dollar bill that you're holding when you have this stuff. It's basically a bunch of numbers and all this.
Digital money.
Yep, digital money is the easiest way to think about it. And what scammers will do is there's actually ATMs at various gas stations around this area that are what they're called Bitcoin ATMs. And what that is they'll have you, common practice is the scammers will have you get X amount of dollars, and they'll have you go to one of the ATM. Usually they'll even want you, they'll have you stay on the phone with them.
Yeah, they won't let you hang up.
Yeah, they'll call you and they tell you, hey, if you hang up with me, you're gonna lose this deal, X, whatever is gonna happen, so they want you to stay on the phone so they can figure it out all the time. But they'll tell you to take your money and go to one of these ATMs, and they know where they're at. These scammers, they do their research. You know, there's a good chance that they probably know where you live, or they may even ask you where you live, you know, right? And if you tell them Rogers, Arkansas, cool. It takes them 5 seconds, Bitcoin ATMs, Rogers, Arkansas. And they can pop up where the Bitcoin ATMs are here in Rogers, Bentonville, wherever. And they'll tell you, hey, take this $5,000 from your bank account and go put it into the Bitcoin ATM. And then what it'll do is you'll do that and it'll give you what's called a wallet. And what that is, it's a string of numbers and letters. It's about 16 characters, I think is what it is. And then they'll have to tell you, ask you to give them that wallet.
Give them that information.
Yeah. And then what that does is once they have that information, then they can have access that wallet and transfer that Bitcoin money to their wallets or wherever they want to go to. It's very common, just like we mentioned with gift cards. It's not as prevalent and popular with cryptocurrency, where no legit business or law enforcement agency is going to ask you to pay for anything using cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, all that stuff. Like I said, same with gift cards. You see the gift cards more common, but I mean there has been an uptick in the last couple of years with cryptocurrency.
It's become very popular to have digital currencies, and the whole point there's two main points of why they use this kind of currency. Number one, it's the common theme, they want to remain anonymous. They want to make it harder for us to find them. It doesn't make it impossible for us to find them, we still can do it, it's just difficult. But the other thing is that cryptocurrencies can, in an instant, be transferred from here all the way to China, or wherever they are in the world, because it's a digital currency. It just goes over the internet, so they can access it immediately. That's the whole point of why they use cryptocurrencies.
I got a question.
Sure.
If, in order to be a victim of this particular type of scam, the victim has to be using cryptocurrency to begin with, don't they?
No, not typically. So what normally will end up happening is, I'm just giving you an example, just kind of, they'll say, hey, we want you to pay for this service, but what I need you to do is I need you to pull that money out of your bank account, go to this Bitcoin ATM, transfer that money into Bitcoin, and then send it to me. They'll have you make that account or that wallet, if you will.
Yeah, you don't have to have previously done it.
Nope.
Like I said, these Bitcoin ATMs, you just go in there and put the money in it. It'll digitize and make you your own wallet address. And that's what the Bitcoin scammers want.
And the most common thing with Bitcoin is what he was mentioning earlier, that you're on the phone with them and they will not let you hang up. They'll try to keep you on that phone the entire time that you are transferring it. Because what they want to do is make sure that you're actually going to do it. And you're not contacting law enforcement in the middle of it. Yes, ma'am.
Is wallet only associated with Bitcoin?
No, but that's just the term that's used when she was asking if wallet is only a thing with Bitcoin. A crypto wallet is used for Bitcoin or whatever other kind of cryptocurrency. There's many out there, but the most well-known one, the most used one, is Bitcoin.
Yeah, I went to a cryptocurrency class, and it was a 2-day class. It was like drinking water from a fireplace. There was so much information. But if I remember right, there was upwards of like hundreds of different cryptocurrencies. There's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, there's
Ethereum.
there's Tron. It's just to name a couple of them.
You basically just throw a bunch of syllables together, and you probably are talking about a Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah. One important note up here, it says cryptocurrencies are not backed by government, bank, or financial institutions. Like all our banks, that we bank with, Arbus and all that, they're backed by the federal government. They've got rules and regulations that they gotta follow. Cryptocurrency, not them. Okay?
Which is why this is the wild, wild west of money. They're not backed by anything, they're not regulated by anything, so of course they're gonna prefer to use this kind of currency. It's easier to get money for people. Yes, sir.
That will be changing, though.
Yes.
Yes.
It will be changing.
We
Actually,
are praying for that day to come sooner.
yeah. He is right. For those who didn't hear, he said that is going to be changing. He's right. It will be changing. President Trump signed the executive order. I forgot the exact details of it, but it is gonna be changing, and it's supposed to be, the executive order was put in place where they're gonna have some kind of backing of some sort, for cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency, it's kind of like, a good way to think about it is, it has no value. I mean, you may put in $5,000, but your Bitcoin is not worth $5,000. But your Bitcoin is actually worth 0.002567 Bitcoins. Okay, and what, just like, you guys are probably all familiar with the stocks. Okay, just like how the stocks fluctuate up and down, so are the prices of Bitcoin. You know, when you may put your money in at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, $5,000, it's worth 0.0025 Bitcoin. By 3 o'clock in that afternoon, 2 hours later, it could be worth 0.5 Bitcoin. But then by 6 o'clock, it could be 0.000002 Bitcoin. It's just like the stocks. It fluctuates. There's no set price or anything. So that's why you'll see these scammers, when they have you put in this money, they're immediately transferring it out of those digital wallets so they can keep it at that price that you're putting it in as.
This is just showing.
Yeah, there's a link down here. It's not working, unfortunately, but it kind of just shows you a little bit about cryptocurrency. So
We basically told you everything of the video already says something.
Yeah, so here's another form of how scammers like to get their money is through peer-to-peer applications. You'll see kind of the most common ones up here is Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal, Google Pay, Apple Pay. Basically, that's just what them using this app to having you send them money, instead of like a wire transfer, like where you can do it bank to bank. These are like, straight from peer-to-peer to person to person. And they'll use these, to another way just to send them money. Big important slides here. Steps to avoid scams.
Please take pictures if you'd like. These are your steps to avoid.
I will say, this is not the end-all be-all best way to do it, but these are just some of the best ways we thought of to kind of help you guys out. Do not open emails from people you do not know. I think on the next slide I've got an email where you'll see. But if you're not expecting an email from Amazon, you haven't ordered anything from Amazon, PayPal, Walmart, Netflix, whoever, do not open that email. Delete it. Trust me, if a business really wants to reach out to you, they're going to send you another email, whatever it might be. So don't open emails you don't know. Be careful on the links you click and your website addresses. That's, like I said, they can send you a link, and it may say on the link, if you're looking at it, it may say apple.com or whatever, but you may click on it, and it can take you somewhere totally different, So just be careful on those links. Secure your personal information. Information that you do not want to give anybody, date of birth, social security number, account numbers, passwords, make sure they're secure, yes, sir.
Yeah, so the act of opening an email, you get a little summary line, when you open the email, that itself doesn't give them anything, does it, other than that you open it? If you don't click on a link.
It is possible
Yes.
for it to give them information.
Yes.
Or access.
They have different, these, like I said, these scammers they have new stuff they do every day. Initially, most of these scams they started off with is you had to click the link. But what they've gotten more sophisticated with technology and all that, where they can even just, they send you an email, you open up the email,
As soon as you open it.
boom, they got access to your computer, or they got whatever. So basically, if you get the email, most phones, applications are used for your emails, will kind of give you a little summary about what it's about potentially. The main thing is, like that says up there, if you're not expecting it, delete it.
That's why that's the
Or just
best
ignore it.
practice. Just delete it.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Before you actually delete it, what you guys input as far as this blocking some of these, links or emails for getting repeat emails?
The thing about that is that I know it's a bit annoying and it annoys me too, but another email address can always be created. So you can block them, but I promise you what they're gonna do is just make another email account and maybe try again. It is a little bit annoying, but just you'll have to keep deleting.
In a minute or two, it may take you to delete them. They can already be halfway done with setting up a new phone number and
Right.
email. you know? So,
I noticed another thing you can do is look in the from line.
Mhm.
If you look at that, and if this doesn't look right,
wait, just hold that thought right there. I got exactly what you're talking about. Give me just 1 second on that.
You talking about the font and stuff, different things like that?
About the email addresses.
Oh, yeah.
So another thing on here, like I said, secure your personal information. These scammers are gonna try to ask for that information. I will say, there are legit companies that they will ask us, like your banking information. They may need the last 4 of your social. They may need your date of birth, you know? So I'm not gonna say, don't tell anybody this information. Just be weary of who you're giving that information for, you know? Using strong passwords. Most computers nowadays, if you go to set up a username, they'll suggest passwords to you, a strong password. You can click on that and it will make you a strong password. And usually what that consists of is a mix between letters and numbers and exclamation points, dollar signs, all this stuff, and that's your strong password. The longer your password is, the better. It's easier to, you know, it's harder for the scammers to crack that, okay? I know it can be tough, you know, I don't know how many applications and stuff that I can log into, so it's tough to remember those passwords, you know? So what I would suggest is maybe using, I wouldn't say use the same password on everything, but you can use similar stuff. But the longer you can make your password, the better. The easier it is the harder it is for the scammers to crack that.
And I know this is very common, so I cannot stress this enough. Please do not make your password.
Or password 1, 2, 3,
It's
4.
very easy to remember, but it also makes it very easy for someone to just guess password as your password. So please, please, please do not do that.
And talking about passwords a little more, try not to make your passwords, you know, your grandson's name, your pet's name, or something like that. Because like I mentioned previously, these scammers, what they'll do is they'll get you, once they get the hook on the line, they may have,
research.
they may be talking to you, but they've got a buddy right beside them that's checking your Facebook, checking all these new stuff like that, checking the names of, you know, everybody and all this, and then they'll start trying, hey, grandson's name is Bob, try Bob. Nope, that'll work. You know, they'll start trying and they'll do their research.
Yeah.
So be wary on making your passwords, you know, your long lost dog's name or your grandson's name or like that.
Question on
Yes,
ma'am.
passwords. There's some browsers that will create a password for you
Mhm.
and save it when you're not about that.
That's what we were talking about. They'll create a strong password for you, that kind of thing. Now, it's kind of a personal preference thing, whether or not you're gonna save that. I'll be honest, I save them just because I know that I'm the only one accessing that computer, and I have way too many things to remember passwords on. So it's kind of a personal preference. If it's a computer or a device that more than just you is gonna be using it, so more than just one person, don't save them. Do not save them. Because then that person that's using it then has access to it. If it's your personal computer, if you want to, go ahead and do that.
Give us just one second. We're almost done with the slide, and then we'll have a little Q&A session. Okay, so you guys just hold your question for
We
us.
have
Okay.
2 slides and then we can.
Like the gentleman was right here was mentioning about emails. Okay, this is my actual personal emails that I received here. If you notice on this slide over here at the top here where I have it circled, looking at this, it says Robert Grigg to me. What that looks like is it looks like I sent an email to myself. Okay, I've sent emails to myself, but I didn't do this one. I knew I didn't send myself an email about PayPal. So what I did, what you can do is, this is on Gmail. You can click on this, the name up here, and sometimes it'll pop up when you get these scammers one.
Not the link, the name.
Click on the name up here, not the link. But you click on the name up here, and then like I said, you may get it from Amazon, and it may just pop up as Amazon or Netflix or Walmart, whatever. But what you can do is you can click on that, and then what it'll do is it'll actually pull up the actual emails. And when I did that, if you can see it up here, so the from says Robert Grigg, but it says Rain ARHand527@gmail.com. That's clearly not my email. Okay? So
That
that,
lies to it is.
I mean, but that was just the way, I knew, I was like, hey, one, I didn't send myself an email, and two, that just confirms that while they said it's got my name on there, and the email initially popped up and said to me, that's not my email, you know? And so that's common, if you'll get these companies, Netflix, I mentioned a bunch of them already, they'll send you these emails, and especially a way to check to see if they're legit is to click on that. And by clicking on that, that does not mean you're clicking on the links or anything like that in the actual email.
If the email address that it came from looks funky, then it is funky.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's not how it's normally, a normal email, you'll see all sorts of different letters and numbers, and just, if it looks that way, it's not an actual email from that company.
Yeah. Our next slide is our Q&A session, but before we get to that, I just wanted to emphasize to you guys, gone are the days where you can trust your neighbor, unfortunately. I mean, I'll age myself, I'm 30, okay? Gone are the days of, when you can trust your neighbor down the street. I knew I could trust my best buddy that lived 2 houses down from me with certain information. Just like, when you guys growing up, you guys could trust, the age of trusting people, unfortunately, is gone. I hate to say it, it's what we live in now is a world where you gotta be cautious. You gotta be cautious about everything. You gotta be cautious when you're driving, because there's bad drivers out there. I mean, if you take 5 seconds to drive down the street, hey, it happens. There's bad drivers, but there are all these people out here that are intentionally scamming people. They're trying to, take your money, take your hard-earned living. So you just got to be cautious. You get a phone call from somebody you don't recognize. You got to be cautious about it, because it could be legit. You never know. I'm not going to say there aren't legit, mysterious phone calls that you get, but there's also the scammers that are out there. Be cautious of the text messages. You just have to be. You have to kind of question everything nowadays. And I hate to say that we live in a time like that. But that's just kind of what you gotta do to protect yourself. There's ways to go about that, like you said, I mentioned, have that family passcode in a sense. Where if you get a phone call from somebody and they believe it's your grandson, hey, what's that family passcode? A scammer is most likely not gonna know that. And if they're like, oh, don't worry about that, whatever, red flag.
Especially if you make it, like I said, something obscure,
Yeah.
something that they can't just research. That would be something about your life or whatever it may be. Make it a random word.
So I say that not to scare everybody, but kind of just bring that caution that, you just gotta look out for everything nowadays. Personally, like myself, I don't answer any phone calls I don't know. So I miss a lot of phone calls. I get a lot of voicemails, but I'm not gonna answer that call from somebody I don't know, and it'd be a scammer or it'd be whatever. I'll let it go to voicemail, and then I'll listen to the voicemail, and then it'll be, hey, this is Elizabeth. We're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Okay, delete. So I say all this just to be cautious. We, the police department, if by chance something does happen, you guys do fall victim to one of these scams, we would gladly take your guys' reports. I'll be a straight shooter with you guys and be 100% honest with you. These cases are very difficult to work. 9 times out of 10, most of these people, they're like you've seen, they're not in the country. They're not in the country. Us at the local agency, there's nothing we can do with that. But what we can do is, while we may not be able to fly over to India and put handcuffs on somebody, what we can do is we can refer that to our federal partners for investigation. While they may not honestly pick up one case, but if we report to them 15, 20, 100 cases of the same scam, then that's going to get somebody's attention. So definitely, if this does happen, contact us, file a report with us. We'll get you a case number. That way you can get it to your bank to hopefully get some money back. Do the best you can. I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I've been up in our criminal investigation division for 2 years, working many of these cases. I can think of 2 cases that I've had probably out of, I'm just going to ballpark it and say 50, 60, 70. I can think of 2 cases where I've actually was able to get the victim some of their money back. So it's tough, but I can tell you, we have a very dedicated team, and this is what we do day in and day out, working these scams, seeing what we can do. And if we can't do anything, with it, we're gonna pass it on to people, and so it's at the federal level, but hopefully we can do something with it, okay?
The only thing I will add, that I thought of as he was talking about, if it's a phone number that you don't recognize, that not answering the phone call is probably the best thing you can do, specifically because of what we talked about with AI. Don't let them get your voice and use it. If you don't know the number, don't even answer it. They can't get your voice if you don't answer it. So, that's all I'm saying. Opening up to questions now.